All right, you have this giant long log sheet, and you should have several rows for each day that you are logging all of the things that you're consuming for water, energy, fuel, or garbage. So now we have to answer a bunch of questions and do some math to get some ideas of an average of how much you might be using over time. All right, so the first one is you're going to choose one thing off of your log that you've used the most of. So, for instance, with water, it's most likely your shower. For energy, it might be you use the television a lot more than any other thing that you're using electricity for. Maybe for fuel, it's your most frequent commute, most likely to work if you work a lot. And for garbage, you might be finding yourself throwing away a lot of water bottles, right? So think of the thing that you are using the most. That's what this is. And so you want to look at that one thing that you're using the most of for the whole week, and then you want to write it down. And that just kind of gives you an idea of how much you're using in a whole week of that one thing. Okay. For the second question, you're going to look at the total that you use for the whole week, not just of one item in the list of things you've consumed, but the whole week. All right. So you're going to add up every, at the end of every day, you have a tally of how many kilowatts you used, or how many gallons of water, or how many gallons of fuel you used. For garbage, you're just going to tally up all of the things that all of the garbage that you threw away for the week. So it's how many bags of garbage for the week. All right. So for this, it's what is the total you consumed for that week? So you're going to add up all of your days into a week, and then you're going to do some calculations for that. So question 2 is about the total for the week. Question 3 is the total for the year. All right, so you're going to multiply it by 52. All right, and then once you get the total for the year, then you're going to multiply it by 1 million people. So we're moving from one item you used for the week to all of your consumption of the whole week of everything, and then how much you're using for the year, and then how much 1 million people would use for the year if they lived like you. So we're moving from very small numbers of one item to 1 week to 1 year to 1 million people using everything of consumption for a year. And that kind of gives us an idea of how much you're personally consuming of one thing that maybe you might decide you want to cut back on, right? Into how much you're consuming in a whole week, into how much you're personally consuming in a whole year of water, fuel, how many bags of garbage you're throwing away in a year, or how much electricity you're using in a year, right? And then that's a personal consumption over a year. Then we're seeing if 1 million people lived like you, how much would that really amount to, all right? Which is still a fraction of our population. And hopefully that will give you, with some simple basic multiplication, a good idea of how much you're really consuming and how much 1 million people consume over time. So hopefully that helps you conceptualize, because each day we're only thinking about how much we're using, a little bit at a time. So hopefully this gives you a bigger picture. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have any more questions, send them my way.